someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. There comes a moment in life when you realize that not everyone clapping for you is cheering for you. Some are clapping because they're glad you fell. Some are clapping because your struggle makes their insecurities feel smaller. And in that moment, you learn the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes you have to cut them off. My incarceration taught me this truth in a way nothing else could. When I went away, the headlines weren't just on the news. They became the lens through which people decided to define me. I was no longer Connie, no longer Dr. O, no longer a woman, a wife, or a mother. I became a story for others to digest, criticize, and mock. And what hurt the most wasn't the strangers. It was the people I once broke bread with, the ones I loved, the ones who knew my heart. Instead of standing with me, they stood over me, using my lowest moment as their platform to feel better about their own disappointments. It was then that I realized the prison walls weren't just made of concrete and steel. They were made of betrayal, gossip, and judgment. And so I had to make a decision for my survival: to cut them off. Cutting people off is not an act of hate. It's an act of self-preservation. It's a declaration that your healing, your future, and your purpose are worth more than entertaining someone else's small-mindedness. When I let go of the voices that wanted to keep me as a headline, I made room for the voice of God. When I stopped feeding people who feasted on my pain, I created space for people who wanted to nurture my purpose. Some people will only ever see you as your worst mistake, but that's their limitation, not yours. If you allow their vision to become your mirror, you'll stay small, broken, and bound. I had to cut them off to remember who I was. I had to cut them off to stop confusing their comfort with my calling. Because here's the truth, my calling was never meant to make them comfortable. The people you cut off will often accuse you of being different. And you know what? They're right. Prison made me different. Pain made me different. Healing made me different. Growth, it made me different. If I stayed connected to the people who celebrated my fall, I would never have risen again. They weren't my safety net. They were the chains around my ankles. Cutting them off wasn't just about moving away from them. It was about moving closer to me, the real me, the me that believed in miracles, the me that still carried vision in my womb, even in my darkest hour. Let me be clear. Cutting people off doesn't mean bitterness. It means boundaries. It means deciding that not everyone who started with you gets the right to finish with you. Your destiny is too expensive to let discount opinions have access. Prison stripped me down, but it also sharpened me. It showed me who was really for me and who was just for the benefits of being connected to me. And when the benefits disappeared, so did they. At first it hurt. I cried. I grieved. But then I realized that their absence was a gift. God removed them because my next chapter could not afford their betrayal. Here's the transformational truth. If you're serious about walking in your purpose, you will have to cut people off, not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. Some people love the version of you that's struggling. They don't know how to handle the version of you that's strong. Some people will always need you to be broken because your healing will require them to confront their own wounds. Some people will only applaud when you fail because your failure validates their excuses for not trying. I refuse to be anyone's excuse. I refuse to stay a headline so someone else can stay complacent. So I cut them off. When I did something powerful happen, my circle got smaller, but my vision got bigger. My friends got fewer, but my faith got stronger. Every time I released someone who couldn't handle my truth, I made room for someone who could handle my future. Every time I cut off gossip, I made space for a prayer warrior. Every time I cut off someone who wanted me stuck, I opened the door to someone who wanted me free. You see, your environment matters. If you water your roots with poison, don't be surprised when your fruit is bitter. I had to choose. Did I want to stay surrounded by people who only valued my pain? Or did I want to create an environment where my purpose could thrive? I chose purpose. I chose to cut them off, not because I hated them, because I finally loved me. You can't climb mountains while dragging dead weight. Some of you are tired, not because of your destiny, but because of your company. You can't soar like an eagle if you keep building nests with chickens. Cut them off. And you'll discover that the sky was never your limit. It was their limitation on you. Prison taught me that I could survive without them. Healing taught me that I could thrive without them. And God taught me that I was never meant to carry them into my promise to begin with. Cutting off people was not my punishment. It was my preparation. And when I look back now, I thank God for the ones who left. They showed me who I was never meant to depend on. I thank God for the ones who betrayed me. They revealed the cracks in my foundation and forced me to rebuild stronger. I thank God for the headlines because without them, I might still be trying to prove myself to people who were never meant to matter. So here is my message to you. Stop apologizing for cutting people off. Stop apologizing for choosing peace over chaos, purpose over popularity, and destiny over distraction. Stop explaining why you no longer answer certain phone calls, respond to certain texts, or attend certain gatherings. If they couldn't stand with you in the valley, they don't deserve it when you're on the mountaintop. Your story is bigger than their headline. Your comeback is greater than their gossip. So cut them off. And watch how God replaces what you lost with everything you've ever needed. You've got this. Peace and blessings, Dr. O.